I'm going to take you behind the curtain of my pressure washing business's journey, where I went from making just $26,000 my first year to a six-figure operation, bringing in over $250,000 by year 3. Now, we are currently in year 21, so the numbers continue to grow, but this just isn't about growth in numbers. It's about the lessons, the strategies, and the hard-earned connections that made it all happen. So stick around, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand the exact steps that took me from cold calling a couple contacts in my phone to working with major clients and scaling my business to where it is now. So the first thing and stage one is we're going to start with our network, okay? And when I first started, I had 6 clients that came with the business. I bought the business. They were all restaurants, but I had no track record, right? No experience and no clue where my first jobs after these 6 customers was going to come from. So I turned to the simplest and most valuable asset that I had, and that was my phone. I pulled it out and I scrolled through all of the contacts, and I messaged every single person that I thought might be interested in getting their house or their business pressure washed. And I reached out to, friends, obviously, family, and even some acquaintances, people that I, just had in the phone. Now, there was one guy that stands out in my mind as I think back at this, and I'd actually had him saved as annoying banker guy. Okay. He wasn't exactly a close friend. Obviously, I didn't even know his name, met him at the gym a couple times. And I knew that he was well connected in the local business community because he was a banker. And hell, I didn't really care what he thought of me for, the random text asking him for some business. So I sent him a text message explaining that I'd started the pressure washing business, and I'd ask if he or anybody that he might know was in need of my services. And to my surprise, he actually responded really quickly, saying that his house could use a little wash. Now, this wasn't just a random job. It was my first step in building a portfolio of work, and that's exactly what I was going after, right? I didn't know what it was called back then, but I knew that I needed to social proof my business. So if you're just starting out, or maybe you've been in it for a while, get out your phone and start texting every single contact in there. And why this was important is because starting with people who it gives you that extra level of trust that you simply can't buy, right? And my goal was to get a bunch of before and after pictures. I wanted to get testimonials or reviews, whatever you want to call them. Google wasn't even really a thing back then. We weren't looking for reviews back then, but word of mouth and those testimonials have always been something that just adds credibility and trust. Now, I knew that with this foundation, that I'd have the proof to show potential clients down the line that we were a legitimate business. Now, if I could demonstrate results, if I could demonstrate reliability, I could start gaining traction and then building credibility for my business, right? And that's unbelievably important. And it's all about leveraging the trust of those who already know you, and that allows you to build a solid foundation a lot faster than if you're just out there, working for random people, right? And then this brings us to the next one, which is stage 2, which is your best free marketing tools. It still goes for me today, right? And I'm talking about referrals, okay? So we got the job, we finished the banker's house, and I made sure to follow up and ask if he'd recommend me to anybody else. And you always got to do this, right? And that's when he mentioned a grand opening of one of the banks that he managed. And he actually made an introduction to the guy who owned the general contracting business that was overseeing this particular project. Now, this was one of the biggest GCs in Savannah, and I knew that this could be a really good connection. And I was right, because that introduction turned out to be absolutely huge for my business, right? We did the new construction cleanup job. We got it all ready for the grand opening. We delivered on what we said we were going to do. And over the years, that contractor's company became a huge source of work, bringing in like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of jobs over, the last 2 decades. And you got to know that referrals, they're not just free leads, right? These are absolutely golden leads, because when somebody is referred to you, they're already coming to you with trust. They're coming to you with confidence that's already built in, right? Referrals are easy to sell, and they're a lot easier to close. And they're also more open to paying higher prices because of that trust. And here's a little tip that I learned early on. And the type of client that you get through a referral is likely going to keep referring you to other high value clients. Plus, if you're not getting any referrals, then you better get better quickly at whatever it is that you're doing, because that is a sure sign that you might suck. And businesses that suck don't last, because referrals don't just bring in more customers. They basically hold up a mirror to your quality and your business, right? No reviews, no referrals is a really bad sign, which is why stage 1 and stage 2 are so critical in the early stages of any business. And if you're liking the stuff we're talking about here and you want to go deeper and really dig into your business, we do offer one-on-one coaching that I know will definitely help your business grow. And there's some more information down on that below. And so now we're going to talk about stage 3, and that is you have to know your worth, right? And please do not undersell yourself. It's one of the most common things that I see. And one of the first quotes I gave to that general contractor was for a large commercial roof cleaning. I had never tackled a job of this size and scope before, and I really had no experience with commercial pricing other than the restaurants. And this was a big TPO roof, right? Huge warehouse. Obviously, if you watch the channel, we have cleaned millions of square feet of these types of roofs since. But the first one was a big lesson learned, right? Back then, though, I was feeling a little uncertain, to say the least, right? I threw out a number. In hindsight, it was really, really low, because I was worried about scaring him off by charging too much. And I think that's something that a lot of us do, regardless of where we're at in our business. But a day later, he called me back and he said something that I'll never forget. And he said, "I think you missed a zero on the quote." And look, he knew that I underbid it by a significant margin and called me out on it in the nicest way possible. So I resubmitted the quote and we got the job and made a shit ton more on that particular job. And that experience taught me a crucial lesson. Don't let a lack of confidence hold you back from charging what your work is worth. Okay. That call from the contractor shifted my mindset completely. Pricing too low can be just as bad as overpricing, because you end up undervaluing your own service, right? It makes you look like you don't know what you're doing. And it wasn't just a lesson in money here. It was a lesson in self-worth and understanding that we are more than just washing stuff, right? We are providing significant value. Now, I price my services based on the value and the impact they deliver, not on my own doubts or what anybody else thinks that we should charge, right? Do me a favor and comment the word value down below if you know your value and you know your customers need to pay for your value. So do that for me. Comment the word value. So on to stage 4, okay? And this is the continuous effort to increase the LTV, or the lifetime value of our customers, as well as getting more word of mouth, right? So as my business grew, I knew that getting more referrals, and trust me, this was not by chance. It's because I constantly asked for them, right? In person, via text, email. One of the reasons that we have the email automation sequences within QuoteIQ, it's the continual and consistent communication with customers, which pretty much guarantees that they will not forget about us, and definitely helps to increase the LTV, right? And like I said, LTV is lifetime value. And that means that after you get the customer, you do everything possible to upsell them, and you want to keep them forever, right? You want to service them for years and years and years. And that's where the LTV comes in, right? So a $500 house wash is great, but a $500 house wash plus a driveway cleaning and maybe a roof, right? It all starts to add up, and then it compounds year after year. And then when they call you back for more work, it's just a beautiful thing, right? And it just keeps continuing to grow. And that's one of the reasons why it's one of the most important things that a business owner should really focus on. What are the components that it takes to increase that LTV as high as you possibly can, right? And it's not easy, but it is possible. And one of the first and easiest ways to do that is not to suck. Okay. You do good work, and they're going to see firsthand the quality, and the quality translates to trust. And that trust goes a long way with new customers, right? And when potential customers heard that I'd work for people that they know and they trust, it gave my business instant credibility, right? The word of mouth referrals, they keep coming. And as a result, my network and my customer base continued to expand. These referrals, they weren't just leads, right? They were testimonials from people whose opinion mattered to the people that they were talking to us about. Each one brought in not just more money, which is great, but it brought in reputation that you can't just put a price on, right? You can't buy that. The business I get from referrals and the ability to name drop these clients to potential customers definitely helps the business. And this stage was about understanding the importance of building relationships, right? Gaining trust, and then staying connected to clients who then can refer you to more people and more opportunities. And do not leave this to chance, right? You will not remember to do all of the follow-up and all of the things that you need to do in order to make all of this happen. You can automate it. So do this whatever it takes, put it into action, and you'll never have to think about it again. Set it up once and you'll have a huge result that is undeniable, right? And yeah, I am talking about using QuoteIQ because I'm going to throw that in there. But it doesn't matter what you use, but you got to have automation in place to do your follow-ups. And so that's the journey basically from a handful of small jobs to building a significant pressure washing business. Each stage was about maximizing the resources that I already had, right? My network, my reputation, and a growing list of satisfied customers. So if you're just starting out or looking to take your business up a few zeros, remember, value your work, lean on your network, get out that phone and contact everybody, and never underestimate the power of a good referral. That's it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.